Oh, welcome to the podcast, Vince.
Thank you, mate.
We just had a bit of audio thing, so I'm going to get you to reintroduce yourself for the first time. Tell us, how did you get started in videography?
So going back to the start of my working life, was actually in civil and structural engineering, which was family business, so I kind of just fell into that. When drones became a thing, I thought these things are pretty bloody cool. So I went and grabbed one of them and started playing with that a bit. And always had the idea of starting a business using the drone to make some money because it was fun as fuck.
Yeah,
that's for me, like making money and doing it in a fun way or something enjoyable has been pretty important, like a key focus of mine. So yeah, I started out in business as Vantage Point Aerial.
Was that what it was called?
Vantage Point Aerial, yeah.
Cool.
Specialising in drone work, and that pretty quickly transformed into doing a lot of general photo and video. And then I rebranded to Supreme Digital Media, and it's been going hard since.
Yeah, beauty. It's did you find through working with the family business that's how you fell in love with business, or were you always like, oh, that's what I want to do?
Video wise?
Oh, just business in general.
Business wise, yeah. I suppose having dad run his own business since I can remember, well, my entire life actually. Yeah, it kind of that's kind of always what I thought I would end up doing, I guess, yeah. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in school, like probably the majority of people ever. But yeah, I think I just love the flexibility and, the independence you've got working for yourself, and that really stood out for me. So yeah, I suppose after working with Dad, and like I knew how to run small business like the back of my hand. It was pretty easy. It was just like choosing what I wanted to go into, and drones was sick and flying drones was fun, and I thought, yeah, let's make money out of this.
Did you have any family members that ran business?
Yeah, so Dad ran Gumtree Pottery, if you ever remember that. It used to be on Torquay Road.
Oh, yeah.
Used to be the massive pottery where all those Metricon houses are now.
Yeah, right.
So Dad had a little bit of experience in business, and I think that's a little bit where I got it from.
Yeah.
But yeah, family plays like a massive part in it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's genetics in your genes as well. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't have any family members. Like, I've got
going to be
some,
the first.
yeah.
I've got some family members, but not like close. Like mum, dad, uncle, aunties, or anything like that. Well, my uncle did have a business, but like, I didn't have too much influence or anything from that. I don't know if I ever would have thought I was going to start in business. When I was younger, I was a bit like you. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah, right.
Really?
That bank.
Yeah, I did law for like four years.
I could see you being a lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, well, I reckon the last like half of it, I wasn't really studying. Someone sent me a photo the other day where I was asleep in a lecture. And I used to do that all the time. I know what it was about the seminar seats. They're like the movie cinema seats. I just fell asleep in them. I don't know what it was about how those guys used to present on they just talk through a PowerPoint. It just put me to sleep.
Lull you to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really interesting content then.
Oh, shocking. It was not like Suits. I wanted to be a lawyer literally because I wanted to be Harvey Specter.
Yeah.
That was my whole influence, I reckon. But yeah, if you told me I was going to, have a creative business later on, like, I would have told you you're dreaming.
Yeah. I'm the same, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I've definitely got creativity in me because I've managed to, run a creative business for 7 years. But like, it's hard to kind of, like communicate the type of creativity that I feel like I have. And yeah, like from an engineering, well, Dad's an engineer, so he's very like numbers and structure. And I've got a lot of that in me as well, but somewhere in there there's a bit of like creativity. So yeah, it's weird.
It's a weird one.
Did you find there were any like particular subjects at school that like really like flourished your creativity, or was it for you, school was just a throw it in the bin?
I see that this just backs up what I'm saying. Like, I loved maths because there's only one right answer, whereas I hated English because it was like you had to like create the answer, and the answer could be, it was fluid. The answer was fluid, whereas in maths it's like the answer's 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also loved like graphic arts and shit like that. So yeah, and like computer based like graphic design and stuff. You know, yeah, that's what I liked.
Do you reckon, like, I look back on this now, I'm like, I was never an artist or anything like that. Like, I was shocking at most stuff, design wise. Like, if you got me to paint something, it'd be shocking. But now looking back on it, I wonder whether or not I would have enjoyed that more if what I had in my head I could actually do. Like, I couldn't do that with anything else, but I suppose with video, you can. Yeah. That's something I can go, like, I can have an idea of what I want someone to look like and create that.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I totally agree, yeah. Like, if you gave me a pencil and a bit of paper and said, be creative, I'd fail.
Be creative.
Capturing stuff, yeah, that's my jam. Yeah.
Do you like the hecticness of the run and gun, let it all unfold around you, but like have the skill sets to operate a camera and just be there to be like, oh, there's a moment over there. That is
what I like, yeah. So I love that, but then I also love, because I do a lot of construction and like property stuff, I also love like when things are in place and like I can just go there and like, you know, walk through a house and find the frames. You know what I mean? Like, you've done construction and like property stuff. Like, you walk through a beautiful property and you see what looks good. Like, you know, you can kind of see the frames. Yeah, I love that too. But yeah, running gun stuff's cool too. Like fast paced environments. Like I've done some like pretty cool like boxing events and stuff like that, where it's just like, you know, the crowd's going nuts and like punches being thrown, and you've got to like get it all. And like then the beauty of it is like creating it, putting it all together later and like making it work, making it sick, making it entertaining. That's what I love about it.
How do you go with storytelling? Like, what do you have any like particular process that you're like, oh yeah, like after I've just run and gun, I like to follow this sort of structure? Or
nah, not really. But like, I'm pretty heavily influenced by the music that I find to fit whatever the edit is that I'm working on. And that's like super important. That's like obviously the first step for me, or somewhere early in the process, is to find that music. So yeah, and you know, I always tell people and clients, like, if you've got great footage and a shit soundtrack, then you can end up with a pretty poor edit, in my opinion. Whereas if you've got average footage and great music and a great storytelling like ability, you can nail it. Yeah. So like, yeah.
It's funny how much a soundtrack behind the video can just change the entire tone of the whole thing.
100%. Yeah.
Like, we don't do a heap of sound design on like the short form stuff we do for clients. Well, we add sound, but like, it's definitely not as in depth as I know that like a lot of other editors do, because it's kind of like for that short form stuff, it's like when you're dealing with volume edits, it just becomes too expensive, and
I'm assuming, yeah, for
sure. As well, like, clients don't understand that either. It's like, yeah, dude, we took like, you know, half an hour, 2 hours just to get the sound, and they're like, what do you mean? Yeah, fucking. Yeah, that's sound design. Like, it gets deep if you're doing it properly.
Like, yeah, it's all sorts of shit. Yeah.
Fucking oath. Yeah. And what's since you got into videography, like, what have your influences been? Like, have you learned from a mentor? Did you learn from courses, or you just purely self-learn?
Yeah, so somewhere in the transition from being, I'm going to do drone stuff, to like, I want to do general photo video, or general video, I suppose. I grabbed an online course. I was target marketed, and it absolutely grabbed me. And which was called Full Time Filmmaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've seen lots of ads for that.
Dude, I think he's American or Canadian. Parker Warbeck. And that was really good. Like, that goes through the full, like, the A to Z of, like, filmmaking and videography and the business side of things and everything. So, editing, everything. So, that taught me a lot. And then from there, it's just, additional self-taught, I guess. Online, the internet.
I suppose once you get like a good, and you probably agree with this too, you're like big on the tech side of things. A lot more than me. You understand like how everything works behind the camera. I suppose once you get like a good base knowledge of what's going on, it's easier to build on that. But it's when you don't know, when you're starting out, like I've really struggled in the beginning because I didn't do a course. I wish I had done that when I was really first getting into it.
There's so much that can be learned though, just by like fucking around and finding out, sitting there with your camera and just being like, I want to know what every setting does, and just going down the list. Like I find Canons to be so user friendly and good for this, because there's plenty of guides out there, and if you ever need anything, you like to know about it in a menu, it's easy. And I'm a bit biased. I love my Canons. We have Sonys in here and we use them as well. But I find those to be like so complex. But a lot of it can just be like, going down the menus, fucking around, finding out. And then when it comes to that day where you're like, holy shit, why am I recording in 100 frames? Or why is this happening? Or why is my audio on auto? You know exactly where everything is. Because that's got me out of so many jams.
You learn a lot on... You do learn a lot on the job when you first start. Like I remember... I specifically remember like one full day event that I did. I remember the night before being like, fuck, this is like the biggest thing that I've had to capture. Like most of the stuff before that was sit down with someone, film them talking, and it was like bite-sized bits. This was like the biggest one I was doing. And I was playing around with my camera for hours the night before. And then on the day as well, like, was... Like, I remember learning heaps on the day. Is there a job for you like that? Like, do you have like one of your first jobs? You're like, fuck, this was probably like my first proper break into the industry.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good story for you. One of my first ever jobs as Vantage Point Aerial was shooting drone footage for a film clip for Esoteric, which was under Mushroom Creative. I contracted to Mushroom Creative. Esoteric, so Bliss and Eso.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Track Be Like You. I shot the drone footage for that.
Yeah, epic.
Wow.
And I don't know if they know, but it was one of my first paying jobs.
Whether you... I mean...
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I suppose people initially find out that it's... You don't hide it, but you don't tell people how overwhelmed you might be with a job like that. I mean, that's a job you don't... Like, have you done something similar since? Like, that's so different.
That's huge,
yeah.
So that was probably... I mean, like, you know, I was pretty confident in what I was doing, but, like, that was a pretty high-pressure kind of gig. Like, don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Was that the energy around it as well? Like...
No, the team was cruising as...
That helps.
Yeah, and he was a legend too, of course. So yeah.
What was like the general premise? Like, what were you shooting for the?
It was just like a bunch of different scenes, and like, Mac and just like running around being crazy, spitting rhymes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What were we shooting on? Just like back then, it would have been like a Phantom or something.
Yeah, Phantom 4 maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, Phantom 4 maybe. Yeah, I think.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Is it funny? I was talking about this with a guy at a filming session yesterday. Is it funny looking back on a job like that and sort of going like, I hated how I did that.
Actually,
are you like that, or do you?
Like that footage is pretty sick.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
There's definitely so many jobs, like my old jobs and old footage and edits, like editing particularly. Like, if you gave me, footage from the first couple of years and said, re-edit this, the end product would be so much different.
Yeah.
But, like, that just because of, like, who it was and the locations we were at, like, it was all really well structured because I was working for people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So that footage is still sick. Yeah.
That's nice. I don't know. I find that funny because I look back on some stuff that I did even a year ago, and we were just talking about that whole thing of like being a creative because he's a musician. And you look back on your stuff and you just go, "Fuck, I hate that." It's not even bad stuff, but it's just like I feel like as you progress, you sort of get better every. Yeah, particularly with this sort of stuff, like fuck, you get better every couple of months.
I've done it. I mean, heck, we talked about it a few episodes back with me. So obviously in the early days, I don't know if you knew me at this point, I was doing inflex photography. This was before working at the previous or my next employer. And I was shooting like 600 photos for events at that venue near Deakin. Anyway, it's been pushed down now. All right. Shooting all like 600 photos, not doing any culls, and then putting every photo into paint. And then putting my watermark in the corner because I didn't know what Lightroom was and I didn't know you could do watermarking.
Yeah.
And I look back at that and it's hilarious to look at. Yeah. But yeah, you progress over time. You get better, and better.
It's experience, like using your camera, becoming more confident using your camera. Like it just comes with experience, and the same thing with like your editing workflows and stuff, and the software. Like software's forever changing, so is technology. But yeah, the more to do it, the better you get.
That's the thing with this sort of stuff. I'm sure it's the same photography, but I can at least speak to it for videography. Like, the tech is changing so quick. You gotta be on top of it. Like, we got someone we outsourced some editing to someone else recently. And I was like, I literally just need like audio synced on like these 13 things. I just literally don't have any time to do it. And with like Adobe, the auto synchronizing thing now they've got, like she was doing it the old way, just manually lining them up. Yeah. And like afterward, because I checked in, I was like, "Hey, how you going? It's task." I'm thinking this will take an hour max. I checked in like a day later because I was like, "How you going?" She's like, Still working through it. I'm like, what's going on? I jumped on a call with her because I checked a bunch of times. Like, do you know how to do syncing? She's like, yeah. We jumped on a call and she was like, yeah, this is how I'm doing it. I'm like, dude, you press a couple of buttons. Yeah.
It's one of those things that like that feature is so like well hidden. You don't know until you know. And then when you find out, you feel so silly. Yeah. But I've had it sometimes where it doesn't work. So you've got to always like know how to do the old school method.
Yeah. Of course. But it is funny when you look at all that sort of stuff, and particularly like where it's going as well. Like it almost looks as though it's going to be intuitive soon. Like the edit, like you'll just be able to type in what you want to happen, and it's going to happen for you.
Yeah,
I know in like the photo space, it's gotten insane because like now, like with weddings especially, you can just dump them all in Lightroom. They've got some really good plugins, and it'll do like a whole selection process for you. And then, you can have like 6,000, 10,000 photos and have just like a cull of 600 and it's pretty good.
How's it even work? How's it color?
It's caters a bunch of different things. Like if it sees duplicates, it'll like if you've burst shot photos, it'll go and pick the best photo out of all of them. It'll look for the smile. It'll look for like a combination of smiles rather than like foreground, front of heads and that sort of stuff. It's gotten so good. And then you can obviously do like AI editing, which I'm not a fan of because I really like that personal touch and all the cropping and that sort of stuff. But it's going to get to a point where even that's pretty good. So I'm in two minds about it because obviously there's the camp that is like, it's destroying the profession, it's destroying creativity. But in the same breath, I see it as like, it's really making those creatives that are truly amazing, like bringing up the standard of and weaning out the shit, which is really interesting to see because I know I've seen it, like some amazing creatives have really come out of the woodwork now because they're seeing all these other creatives and like, nah, I've had enough. Like I'm finally going to put my shit out there and just tell people that I'm good. And, like get the response they never thought they'd get.
I think you look at all the I'm big on where AI is going, because I reckon if I could get to the result that I want to get for clients faster, it means I can create something way better, probably add more in, more cost effectively as well. Because there's a lot, I mean, this is probably more so for the jobs that I work on. They're not like $100,000 jobs, more like that social media content style. So like for a lot of our clients, like doing something epic every single month, and lots of it is hard to do affordably.
Yeah.
So that's why I like AI, is like, it's not there yet for me, but like, yeah, if it can help speed up that process so we can create something way better and spend more time on what they're saying and the structure of that and everything like that, I'm all for it.
Well, the framework's there. Like GPT-4 is pretty good. Even the I forget whether it was DALL-E or it was the other one. And you saw the comparison video of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and that was like the clip from about a year and a half ago, and he picks up spaghetti and it morphs into his face. It looks crap. Yeah. And they've just done one recently, and you wouldn't be able to tell. It looks like a 4K shot of Will Smith. So if you look at that and how far we've come, and the fact that it can produce B-roll that well, it's not hard to plug that B-roll into GPT. So when you talk, it'll just go and make relevant B-roll. And then obviously we've already got the tools for like captions and stuff. So like short form video, it's going to take one like creative that has a budget or can find the right investors, and we'll see it pretty quick.
100%. Have you played around with it much? You pretty manual still as well?
A whole lot, yeah. Like, you know what I would love? I would love some kind of AI tool that like sifted all my footage and grabbed the best bits and chucked it into a timeline, because that's so time consuming and boring.
Yep.
But like, it's got to be done. Like, it's step one of my process. Like, sift through a 2-hour shoot, put the best bits in the sequence, and then you start creating the story from there. But if I could skip that step, because that's just the boring bit, that'd be nice. So yes, I mean, is there a tool like that? Let me know.
Yeah.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'm paying for that.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there will be.
Like, I've mucked around with the generative AI stuff, just in Photoshop and stuff like that. But no, I haven't really ventured too far into it, to be honest.
It's funny too, I reckon, because I think I'm hesitant to get too into it as well, because I think there's also like some rejection sensitivity to it. Like, I think there's a lot of people that are resistant to stuff that looks AI and doesn't look real as well. So it's kind of like something could look amazing, but because it still looks too perfect or too animated, or you know what I mean, they're like, oh, it just doesn't feel, where's the human side of it? Like that's what I'm sort of hearing from clients and stuff. Not that we've tried to pitch too much AI stuff, but when they've talked about it anyway. Are you finding that?
There's a huge trust factor. I mean, it definitely comes with a certain type of client that doesn't trust it. But then in the flip side of that, there are people that are really open to it. And they're just like, how can we make this as efficient as possible? And, what tools can we use? Like, I'm open to any of it.
Yeah.
So
I am interested in it for things that maybe, like, say, for content, I think there's a lot of content where it's hard to, you don't want to do it because you want that connection and everything. But for stuff where it's like a video for like a course or a training tool, whether you're selling that or internally for a business, I think it'd be super handy to have that. Like, because then you can just, like, if you wanted to go back in and edit part of it to change something when later on, inevitably, some part of the course becomes irrelevant and you need to update it, you can just type in what you want to happen and it'll change. Like, we're already there with that. That is where I think that's pretty epic, which I don't mind those. I'm not super keen on those sort of jobs anyway, because when you just got to point and press a button,
Yeah.
get good audio, get good video, and bugger off. Then no real editing, just trimming.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
It'd be good to be able to just. I think we're moving into a day and age though, where there's like the idea, like all like ourselves, people that are able to come up with the ideas, and just stay creative. I don't think that'll ever disappear.
Yeah, that's right. The human element. There'll always be a human element in this kind of work. It's just the efficiency of like idea to end product. That's what's going to change. That's what I think anyway. Yeah.
you've got to be like a content expert, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, well, storytelling expert, content, whatever you want to call it. Because it's kind of like, I mean, if you just pick on people in construction, like and I'm sure a lot of these guys would say the same thing, guys and girls. But if you had to have them describe what they want, they don't know what they want.
Yeah.
They're just like, you tell me what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The skills in making whatever it is look good and appeal to an audience. Yeah. So that I think that skill will just remain. Yeah.
And for purpose too, right? Like, I feel like there'd be a lot of stuff around as well. Like, people that go, create a video for my construction business, and it would spit out 100 things and none of them would be usable. But they'd still post them.
Yeah. It's happening now. It's happening now with the shorts.
Yeah.
You know, people that are using the AI tools that are more than capable to set up, an iPhone with the right lighting, and they know the basics. And they come to us all the time. It's just like, I'm just not getting the right look. It's just like, I know, because I know what tool you're using. So yeah, there'll always be a human element.
100%. So what's the future for Supreme Digital, mate? Like, what do you want to do with the business? What kind of clients do you want to work with?
That's a great question. It's one I've been pondering for a while, and I do not have the answer to. But as I mentioned earlier, like for me, maintaining enjoyment in what I do is super important in like a career. And the clientele I've got at the moment, like I love work with my clients. Like,
What makes them enjoyable to work with?
they're just my kind of people. Like, I've grown up, and probably 90% of my mates are tradies. And like I branched out into being the office bitch of the bunch, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, now I'm doing my own thing, and it's like I love the fact that it's like a 50-50 on site and in the office as well, because I don't mind, like, on a rainy day, being in my truckies and Uggies and editing in front of the computer rather than being on site getting pissed on with rain. But yeah, like that kind of clientele, like they're my boys, they're my people, they're my girls. So yeah. So I do love like high-end homes and like the construction side of things as well. I've got an interest in that, so I do love that. I also love working with businesses because I love business. It's
What about working with businesses? Like, is that like social content, testimonials, what kind of stuff?
It's probably like promotional content and social content, like delivering a message to an audience in a way that invokes a feeling or invoking a feeling while conveying the message is what I like to try and achieve. And like, that's what you have to do. Like, the client comes to you and says, I want to, I need more leads. So like, whatever the business is, like, you've got to figure out the demographic audience, which your client should know, and then figure out, like, get inside their head and produce something that will flick a switch inside their head that goes, well, I'm interested in this. So I love that, but and a key aspect of that is learning about the businesses, learning about the people who run the businesses, because I just love all that shit. Like, just love learning about the back end of business and how people are doing things. Like, it's just, it interests me. So love the business side of things, and creating content for businesses, part of that.
Cool. Like, there's so many ways. I feel like everyone's doing everything so differently. So like in your game, you must see such a diverse range of how people are doing things.
That's exactly right. And just like it, like aside from the creative side of things, just like learning how people run their businesses, it just helps you so much. And on the creative side of things as well, like working with other creatives helps you so much as well. Because people just do things different ways, and like, you know, you might do something that you're just like, this is how it's done. And I'm like, fuck, I've never seen that before ever. Now I'm going to do that forevermore because it's so much easier or so much better. Do you know what I mean? So,
I mean, shit, I learned that when I was working with you and how I like saw you doing your floor plans and stuff.
yeah.
When I first went into it, I was like, how the f am I going to do what he's doing? I don't know like Illustrator. I don't know Photoshop.
Yeah.
And then you showed it to me. I was like, oh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool. It's really good to collaborate and just see how other people do it. So,
Yeah.
100%. We were saying that earlier, like that idea of, I think this is probably one of the things gets me about, not everyone, but some people in the creative industry is viewing everyone else that has, like, and it's kind of like, fuck, man, like I don't do the same kind of work that you do. I don't do the same kind of work that you do. And like the stuff that, like my strengths, my weaknesses are different to like yours as well. And I think, it's silly not to collaborate more. Like if anyone else is, obviously we're talking about more of our area, but like so relevant to anyone in any area is like in your local area, it might seem like there's a scarce amount of business, but there is crap loads.
Yeah, that's right.
There's crap loads of business for any sort of creative. Like, just it's so if you can collaborate with people, you can share work around so much easier, and like everyone, it's rather than like halving the work that you're getting, you're probably gonna like double it because you can fill out your spaces where other people are busy and then they can't do jobs, and then and you just work together to like, just all work together, in your own. You might all have your own businesses, but you're kind of under one, bigger business and serving everyone.
Yeah.
and you get to be known as that person like that solves the problems too, because then you become the person that everyone calls. And it's just like, hey, I know you don't do this, but I know you can, like, you know a guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, oh, why are you doing that? Why don't you just get me there anyway and I'll take some photos of why you're doing it? So you become that person.
Someone I referred to you just the other day, actually, Benny. I don't know if it came through, but there was a dude in Melbourne who required a shoot and it was super short notice. I think it was like next day or day after. And it was a construction job. And he was like a Melbourne agency, but he needed a local dude. And I just couldn't do it. And he said, oh, do you know someone? And you were the only person I thought of, actually.
There you go.
Because I know you're a good fella. And I know that you do that kind of work. And I know that you do a good job. So, yeah. It's just like, and like, business is about relationships. And like, yeah, as I said before, like treating people as competitors. Like, if you like create and sustain relationships with people in your industry, then like things like that are going to come from it, like referrals and like collaborations and like assistance, like, you know what I mean? So I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
100%. It's just it's a funny mindset, I think. And we talked about this on, we're probably going to repeat ourselves a ton. Like we'll probably say this in another 100 episodes, but like that idea of like having like an abundance mindset with all this sort of stuff. Like initially when you start out, you kind of like you job to job. It is a little bit like, fuck, I need to fill this out. Like I need to get stuff in. And you were saying earlier, like you don't even really need to market yourself anymore. Like last few months, I've been terrible marketing it, but we just don't need to at the moment. When this comes out, it'll be a lot easier. But it's funny. I feel like for creatives, it switches very quickly. And if you set up good relationships, you'll be in a much better position rather than, you can't work with 100 clients.
No, that's right, yeah.
And it's lonely, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we've all been through it. Like, you go out in the early days, you try and do everything on your own. Fuck, it is lonely.
Yeah. Hard work, too.
Particularly like, and this was like half the reason we started this, was like even that fear, all those feelings as well like I'm sure you can relate to this as well. We were kind of talking to it earlier. You go along to a job, audio fucks up and the shoot's gone. Out of focus video. Like something inevitably goes wrong on a shoot and like it feels like the end of the world. Like and to not have people you can kind of, well, I'm sure we've all experienced it. Like you can definitely feel like lonely not being able to share that with other people. At least if you go to work and you got team members you're working with, you can kind of go like, fuck, just what could I have done? Like I'm so angry at myself, but I'm worried about what the client's going to think. I'm like, yeah, you feel guilty that like you've wasted time. There's so many emotions I think go into shit that goes wrong with our sort of stuff.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than something going wrong and your heart sinks, or like you realise at the end of the shoot, or a microphone dies halfway through something, or that's brutal.
Oh, it's the worst. I mean, if you had to speak to like a up and coming videographer, maybe share something that might be helpful for them. Like, what's one mistake you wish you would have avoided?
Um,
Fucking great question, by the way. Did you say that, Ben? Yeah. Great question, by the way.
Great question.
What's something I would have avoided? I'd probably speak more to, instead of what to avoid, what to do. And instantly that would be around building relationships. Yeah. As I was just saying before, like building relationships with other people in the industry, and just like client relationships, like nurturing client relationships, being a good human.
What do you mean by that? Like if you had to define that to a few things.
Yeah. So, all right. Coffee is currency.
Yep.
If you're working with people who enjoy coffee is currency. Buy a $5 coffee and bring it to your client. Find out your client's coffee order. Write it in your phone. You'll never forget it again. Occasionally, when you're going out to a job and you're meeting with a client, bring them a coffee. They'll love you. And it's a small gesture. It costs you $5. What's your fee? Like your fee, whatever your fee is going to be, it's going to be a fraction out of your fee. But it's just like a nice gesture, and they won't forget it, and it makes them feel good. It's easy for you. Things like that. Nurture client relationships and like business relationships. That would probably be one of the key things, because if you become the first person that someone thinks of, or if you pop straight to mind when someone's like, hey, do you know a videographer? Because you've become the person in their mind that's either the relied upon person, or like, good at what you do, or all those things. Like, yeah, nurturing those relationships helps you get to that position much sooner. I think, yeah.
We talked about earlier as well that like investing in your clients, like little things like that are huge. Yeah. Like, and I think there's a lot of creatives that often look at stuff and go, there's a lot of content on TikTok as well about this, of like not doing the extra stuff and like how to charge people for a lot of these extra things kind of thing, which to an extent I do really agree with. But like we were saying earlier, like you might look at a job and the cost, say it's a $5,000 job, and it costs you like $2,500. You'll probably still end up investing $3,000 or something in that job for an ongoing client. Like there's maybe some months or something like that. Like if it was a retainer or something like that, it might be even cheaper some months and stuff like that. But you might and in another way, you could end up spending $4,500 of pretty much the whole fucking thing. To make sure that person's happy that month. That's more on the extreme side of things, but like I love that one. I love looking at stuff of investing in clients. I'm about to go into it, to be honest. I'm tendering for a job at the moment, and it's one of those ones where they've never been treated right. So they are so hesitant, and they like questions after questions before we even started. They want to know everything about what we're doing. And I feel bad because I just want to help them. And I'm at the point now where it's just like, okay, I am going to do this and I'm going to run this,
at cost. Like, I'm going to give you a cost price. I haven't told them it's like cost price, but it's coming across that way. And it's just like, I'm going to just show you what the other side of the grass is. And then once we get to that point, we're going to have a discussion about what this is going to actually cost ongoing. Not like after the first shoot, but, I'm going to impress them after 3 to 6 months. And then once they're happy, it's just like, all right, let's actually look at you reinvesting in us. Because we've been investing in you for the last 3 to 6 months. And I hope you're happy at this point. And we just want to, do better. So it's an interesting thing because a good friend of mine, and actually a cousin sort of said to me at the time, is some jobs you just need to make no money on. Because like we've got a team, you've got a team. I'm sure you've got team members that you use as well. That you just, sometimes you just need to support them and you don't need to be making money. Sometimes it's about just feeding the people that need to be fed. And at the end of the day, you'll get the fruits from the long-term client, like you said, like the business relationships.
Yeah, that's right. The 1%ers, the things that are easy for you, but like get a good result from your clients. Like, I can't think of an example, but like just going the.
I'll tell you one that come up for me recently. I'll say it like because you and me talked about this on the job that we collaborated on. I remember we caught up, we had lunch afterwards, and we were chatting about that professionalism side of things. One big thing for me now is like almost over communicating. Like people get like a message or an email like, when we start with like, here's how it's going to look, like here's the timeline. And like even after the shoot, like, hey, cool, here's what you can expect. Like you'll see the first version of this by this date. We'll go over it then. Then we'll go through a round of revisions. And then we should have if we can check that within the first couple of days, we'll have the final version over to you by whatever. Just clearly communicating as well. Like, because I think there's a lot of people that can kind of like, I probably wanted to be like this earlier on as well. Go in, do the job, and kind of, I know when everything's going to happen, and I'm like, this is going to be pretty timely. But to the client, it seems like it's taking forever just because they don't know. And probably that thing that you're talking about, like where people are afraid of everyone's been screwed over before by creatives and more so marketing agencies, but like I suppose us creators come under that as well. So everyone's scared that like someone's just going to run off with their money.
Just under promise, over deliver.
Exactly. One of my mottos. I had that when I was working the family business in the engineering. That was massive on my whiteboard. Under promise, over deliver. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And you don't want to do it too much because you don't want to be going backwards on every job. But like, that's what I was saying about like the 1%ers or the small things that are easy for you, but effective for your client. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Chuck them in every now and then.
And it might even be like over delivering in terms of like outlay of cost, but it may be like, hey, we're going to get you this in like a week and a half's time. You get it to me in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
It's just like, holy shit, he said he's going to take a week and a half. Yeah. And he's pushed this through. So like, it can be as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's so funny like that too, because even I do that too. I love that one. I didn't used to do it. That was something I learned. It was like, give yourself the buffer for when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
But also, if you can get it done in 3 days, get it done in 3 days. And just
do you know another big winner that I've been doing actually? It just came into my head.
Yeah, what?
So when I used to give people discounts, I used to just take it off the invoice and just give the discount. And the invoice would be the total amount.
Right. Now they can see it.
Now they can see the discount. And I've got such a good response from that. It's just like, oh man, you sure? Like, give me like a massive discount, you sure? It's just like, yeah, that's what we've agreed on. But it's good that people actually realize the discounts these days.
It is important. I've got a similar situation coming up. I'll be doing the same thing for a client coming up. And it's funny because I think you need to do that, otherwise it can go underappreciated. Like, I think it was this guy Rory Sutherland. He works like Ogilvy Advertising, massive marketing agency. He said like, underappreciated value isn't value at all.
Mm.
So, like, I mean, if they don't know that you're doing that discount, if they don't know what goes into the service, like, it doesn't seem as valuable. Like, if someone thinks a minute video takes 15 minutes to do, and then they look at our price for it, and they go like, "Oh, what the hell?" And it's like, dude, that took an hour. Like, well, that took two. Like that didn't just happen. I don't think you realize how long that stuff takes. Just another side of that, but like definitely on the discounting and like just making stuff clear. Yeah, it's not rubbing it in their face or anything, or trying to be like, "Look at me, I'm a good guy." But like, also if they don't realize, and then next time you charge full price, they go, "What the hell? This was the price last time." It's like, even if it was super clear.
Yeah. I've got a mate that does some custom, like super custom sort of stuff, and he tenders for some pretty large jobs. And he's been like negotiating for ages, and he's one of the best negotiators I've ever known. And his best one is like, he'll tender for a job, it's like $50,000, or it's like, it's like $25,000. And he's breaking down these quotes with people, and they're like, "Your pricing's ridiculous. How do you think you can charge this much?" He's like, "All right, what's your wage? You're probably making X amount, $4,000 a month. This job's going to take me 6 months to do. Do you think you can do this? If you took 6 months to do this, do you think you could do it?" And they're like, "No way." And it's just like, well, I can get this done in that amount of time. So this is why I'm charging that. And they have this light bulb moment all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so interesting, like the sales negotiation and objection handling. It's one thing that I've really been trying to like lean into at the moment, and just understand why people think certain things, and then go, how have I not educated them well enough to make them understand?
Yeah. There's that job we worked on together, or like,
Oh, which one? Is it the
sales?
The one in Mel? Yeah. Michael. Yeah.
We were just chatting about like, how to communicate the value that you're providing to your clients as like a small business owner. And the way he spoke about that, and like said, kind of like taught me, but wasn't really taught. He was just a quick bloody 10-minute spiel. But like the way he communicated, how to do that was just invaluable. Most of which I've forgotten now because my mind's like
his big thing was, and you can tell if I'm on the right path. His big thing is helping people to get to the answer themselves. So like, so rather than if we were on a sales call and I'm going like, rather than me saying, "Well, this is why this job costs this much," like similar to what your mate did then, like what are the perfect questions that you could ask that help someone arrive at the same conclusion, so that they can like, there's a quote out there he might have said to us, but I've definitely heard elsewhere as well, is people will reject what they're told, but like agree with what they conclude themselves. Like if someone can come to that answer themselves and not feel like they're being told something, they're more likely to take it on board.
Interesting.
I think it's so true. Like, particularly like even on that value side of things, like we could talk about the cost of doing stuff for ages, but in reality as well, it's like, what's the value to the other person? Like, someone gets so caught up in the cost. It's like, well, this could be, I mean, we could do it for $500, man. Fucking suck. I don't know, if you want to get clients out of it, you could go to this cheap person and do it for $500, and you'll have to look over everything. You'll have to send back for revisions. It probably still won't come back how you want it, and then that's your final product that you're going to be putting out there, for businesses. So that's your advertising, or that's your social media. Like that's,
it's that age-old saying. I do things 2 of 3 ways: cheap, good, and fast. If you want it cheap and good, well, it won't be fast. And if you want it good and cheap, You just mix them around. There you go. But it's that age-old saying, and it's just fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It is so true, because it's like it's funny too, because my mindset around stuff that I invest in now as well is totally different. Like, I don't want to, like, if I'm paying for a service, like, there's obviously some things I'll still try to negotiate down, because I'm like, that's going to be the same no matter what. But if I'm paying for a service, or like the same for like an employee, I want them to be super invested in doing a good job. Like, if I make it cheaper, like if someone tries to discount my service, I'm less committed to the result for them. I don't want to be. But like, at the same time, if I've got one client over here that's paying me $5K a month and this person's paying me $1K a month, they're going to get the priority every day of the week. Like, they're just a client I have to make sure we do everything perfect for. And if someone wants to grind me on the price, like, it's like, cool, I can only dedicate this amount of time, and then I have to like put it down.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No discounts.
You don't do discounts? What's your philosophy on that? Because we talked about that in another episode as well, about the whole thing of should you discount or do free work when you're starting out?
Well, it's a great question, and like, I did for sure. Like, you got to start. You can't go in with your pricing at, you know, the top of the, like, the industry standard or top of the industry, you know, pricing structure. You got to come in as the peasant that you are and work your way up. You know what I mean? Free work, yeah. Like, I think free work's best dished out to friends you can help with your, you know, your business or service. Especially in the creative industry. Although if your friends are absolute bros, then they're probably going to want to pay you anyway. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like just in videography and photography, in like the kind of niches that I work in, you've got to get your foot in the door. You've got to just kind of like hustle a bit, like go in a bit cheaper. Maybe as I said, help out a friend with some free shit, whatever. But you know, as soon as you get a bit of traction, you're in it to make some money, and that's what you got to be trying to do as well. Yeah, that's what I think. But like, once you're established, like if you're, like, I do bundle discounts and stuff, like, but yeah, I think that's just really kind of overall pricing. Like, that's just the way I price my services. But if someone says, "Hey, that's too much," I just say, "All right, well, no worries. See you later."
It's a good way to be.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to be. I definitely still find myself being drawn to every now and then go a little bit lower on certain things I really want to work on. It's not advice I'd give to other people. I think you've got to pick what works for you as well, right? Like in that instance you mentioned before, it's like, okay, well, I've got team members that are still getting paid their price on this. The client is going to be happy, and I'm going to win from having them long term. But like, I'm not really investing a heap of extra time into that, so I can do it at cost.
Yeah, and it's knowing your like profit margins, knowing your costs, and then actually like leveraging it too. Like, if you're going to go and do that, you know, don't just throw the investment out the door. Leverage it. Go to other people in the space, or go to other clients that you know you want to work with. Be like, I'm doing this amazing stuff for them. Look how well they're doing, and then go make your money off someone else. But just don't throw it to waste.
Yeah. But at the same time, like that, I mean, if someone's like working on their own and they're a contractor and they are established,
still though, like, know your costs. Like, every contractor gets to a point where they're going to have to outsource. And if you're thinking with that in the beginning, going like, all right, I'm charging $150 an hour. I know that, you know, if I had to pay someone now, I have to pay them like $75, $50 an hour to do that. So if you think with that in the mindset in the beginning, you're not going to put yourself out at the end when you know you have to pay that person.
No, absolutely. I just mean like I suppose people in that like transition phase of kind of now having enough work and still having stuff come in, and it's kind of like, I'm getting paid $165 an hour over here. I'm getting paid, 200 or 300 over here. Do I go and do this job for $75 an hour?
Yeah.
Like, it's still good. That is the hard part. It's still all right money.
Yeah.
But then it's all the other stuff around it, and you realize why you charge real prices. Like, I know $75 an hour sounds like a lot to people that aren't in the industry or people that are new in the industry, but like, there's a lot of extra work that goes around.
You're not making money. You're not making money at $75 an hour.
And it's not an hour. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's really you're putting in 2 hours of work, and then once you account for tax, but you're working for like $15, $20 an hour.
And the thing is, like, you get in business to make money. That's what it's about. You want to have the fruits of the labor. You want to have the fruits of the risk. You know, like my old man has drummed into me for years. You could be on a good wage, at a job, getting super, annual leave, all that, and you can walk out the door at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Probably still have my hair if I was in that job, but like, that's not what I'm about, you know. So it's just what it is.
I like you. I like this new version of Ben. I think I met you when you had the long hair.
Yeah.
When we were working together. It was down here, dude.
Yeah.
Don't tie your hair up in a man bun. That's any creatives that are out there with long hair, leave it out.
Do you know what? I do. You should. This is completely side note.
Contra deal, Ashley and Martin. I've been there. It's not happening. No way.
We'll get a sponsor on board. What hair product can bring back Ben's hair? Turkey.
What's that? Willing to try anything now.
That hair transplant place in Turkey.
Doing their thing.
Dude, I'm so content with it now.
I think he pulled it off. I like it.
It's a bit long at the moment, to be honest. But like, all in all, I fucking love having short hair. Smooth through the water. Fuck, awesome.
I'm losing mine, as a lot of my friends will love to tell me, and I'm just holding on.
Clinging on.
See,
I'm clinging on.
I reckon you just gotta let loose. Like, if you know it's coming, I had a mate that waited till he was like fucking 50, and it was bad. Like, it was not there at all.
No, you can't. This is my thing, right?
Get rid of it.
You can't let it get to the point where it's bad. But my hairline now has been the same for like the last 3 years. If it kept going back, I'd get rid of it, because you don't want to be that guy in the friend group when everyone goes like, "Who's going to say something?"
About time.
Yeah. No, he's gonna say something to him. Let's get him drunk enough so he doesn't realise.
But I reckon if I got rid of it now, I wouldn't be able to bring it back.
You can't. You can't. Trust me.
Experience.
Yeah. I'll tell you the story. So I was with my ex-partner, and I met her mum for the first time. We're at rented a house, and I was like, this is awkward. This is just awkward. We're just sitting on the couch, we're not even talking. And I just went, let's shave my head. And they were like, that's a great idea. What an awesome idea. And like, the missus had been like slowly drumming it into me anyway. She hated the beard, all that sort of stuff. She's like, oh, we should shave your head. And then anyway, she inceptioned me. We were there, and we shaved my head, and I thought, oh, what a fucking hilarious thing. I'm going to be able to get all this, like, you shave it, it'll grow back thicker, it'll be amazing. Nah. Fucking nada. So don't. If you're
just sitting around the couch, and it's awkward, and your go-to is, let's shave my head. Let's make this less weird.
Could have said, let's play poker, let's play chess. You got a favorite movie? Nah, I went straight to, let's fucking rip out the buzzers.
Oh shit.
So yeah, anyway, you only get to pull that hat trick once.
I think we've lost one of the cameras now.
Yeah, it
might be
technical issues.
This might be a good point to wrap up.
There you go.
Thanks for coming on, Vince.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Like and subscribe, everyone. Cheers.